Hey guys, welcome back to Mod and Pop Thrift. My name is Tom. I'm a full-time eBay reseller and a stay-at-home dad for my 6 children, and what a weekend. It was kind of crap until it wasn't. I found a bunch of sweatshirts that were kind of okay. I'll put some of them up here. But that yard sale, they were a quarter a piece, and I went to like 9 yard sales and got a bunch of footage and nothing, and then I stopped recording because I was discouraged, and then I found something, but it would not have been a whole video. But then we had the video that you guys watched last. That was fantastic. Only as of the recording of this video, only one of those shirts is sold, but I paid $50 for everything, and it was almost $1,000 in listings, and then one of those shirts sold for $100, so I'm into the profit. Everything else is pure profit, which is pretty darn crazy. Pretty excited. I needed that kind of lick. That was a really good one. Today we have 26 items for $880.61. Let's go ahead and take a look at all of that. This deer shirt sold for not very many dollars. It's on that's a good tag, that Fottle Fruit of the Loom tag. A deer hunting scene in Sterling. There's no date, definitely single stitch. Cool shirt, like $10 plus shipping, $7, $8 plus shipping on an offer. I don't remember exactly, but I always pick up like whitetail deer shirts, as long as they're cheap. They're good filler for the store, and they do eventually sell. They're the kind of thing, for whatever reason, some people are looking for nature t-shirts, vintage single stitch. And then there's these books that are some type of Mormon, I don't know if they're like, I suspect they're historical fiction kind of a thing, like stuff that actually happened, but novels more than, but anyway, Prelude to Glory, Volume 7 and 8, and Volume 2 and 5. So I don't normally like to pick things up that are volumes and just, no runs in there. They aren't in numeric order, but those were $4. The comps on large sets were crazy, but then they ended up selling for $20 free shipping, but the shipping only cost me like $8. So 8 and 4, I'm into them for 12, so I probably only made $5 or $6 selling them. Not a great pickup, but had I had, rather than 5, 2, 7, and 8, if I had 5, 6, 7, and 8, I would have probably been able to make a lot more money, and they would have sold faster. And I picked those up with another big group of Mormon books that were in really nice shape, big heavy hardbacks that are the kind of thing. Mormons, I hate to speak in generalities about people of faith, but the documents mean a lot to them, like having books. And I guess the Bible, there are people who collect Bibles, that are mainline Christian. Anyway, Mormon books books from any religion can do fairly well. These sold for $20, and I'm going to put them in a box, and I just will wrap, I'll put them in a very sturdy box and do one roll of bubble wrap just to make them look protected, but nothing's going to happen to those books in shipping. So that's those two. Next up, we have some horror VHS in a huge lot, and I listed them for $40. I immediately got a $35 offer and took it. These are things that were not worth listing by themselves, things that that really weren't worth listing in a small group, like Poltergeist 2 and 3 are both in pretty gross shape. This is what's called a cut box. So it has if you think about this kind of a box that a VHS normally comes in, well, the rental store will cut that up and slide the pieces. This is called a cut box. And then this is called a big box. So this is a small box and this is a big box. And so, but this big box is in awful shape. Cut boxes are significantly less valuable. And I didn't have number 1 in the series. This Hellhole, while it's the right movie on the tape, it's actually the wrong tape. Like somebody had somehow, and I don't know where this came from. It had, like, it's The Firm, and then, but when you watch the tape, it's Hellhole on the tape, and then the box, which this is a specialty box too, and I don't remember the name of that. But Tim, tell me what the name of this box is that closes on all 4 sides in the comments. These, and then like Child's Play 3 and 2 without the box, and Bride of Chucky, which is like 5. These Doll Man I probably could have, but just selling horror VHS in lots like this, they move so fast and they're worth money. Horror VHS, I probably could have held out and got $50 for these, but they literally were sitting on the floor over there, something that I was going to eventually get to processing. And I'm like, I'm just doing it right now. I'm just going to stick them up there, take 5 pictures, list them for $40 and be done with it. And it worked smashingly. Sometimes brevity and not like, sometimes perfection can be the enemy of the good. Like sometimes it's better to just get the work done instead of comping every single one of those and trying to get every single dollar out of it. Just move them and move on. These, I comped them, and the problem with them, I paid $3 a piece for, $3.99, so $4 a piece for them. There were like 3 listed and 3 sold on Terapeak, but the 3 sold were like 1 a year for over 3 years. And so I didn't want to sit on these for 2 years and wait for these to sell for like $40 a piece. So I listed them together for $45 plus shipping, and they sold in like 3 weeks. So I'm into them for $8, and to me, having $50 this week instead of maybe $100 in maybe 2 years, I would much rather do that. So I'm finding a lot of this kind of signed bird art stuff at my local Goodwill. I would definitely be comping that and trying to look it up and buy it in the future, because if you buy it cheap enough, you can sell it. You can do a really good job with it. It sells reasonably quickly and gets a good return. Old Champion tag, Joe Montana. This sold once before, and I messaged the guy and said, hey, this is a child's extra large, and I screwed up the listing and just put it in as extra large. So did you look at the measurements that were on it, or did you? And he's like, no, I was hoping it was an adult, so can you please cancel the order? And I said, yep, my bad. Picked up 3 Coach purses the other day for $10 a piece, the other couple of weeks ago. And while I was buying them, I was like, oh, these little satin bags are supposed to come with them, right? When you buy them, you get these bags. And so she threw them in with the purchase of the 3 bags. And I've sold off all 3 of the bags. And then I was just like, oh yeah, I didn't list these with the bags. Let me list them separate. Comped them $12.99 plus shipping for these Coach satin bags, but I literally have no money into them. I had them thrown in on a deal, so cheap as can be. This I would have suspected to do better. It is fitted size 7, which doesn't help it any, but it's vintage, made in the US, American Needle. Like, that's a super good hat, and it's an unusual, that old school Chicago Cubs logo, but the size 7 fitted, I think, hurt it a lot. If this was a snapback, I imagine it would have sold for a lot of money pretty quick. Eventually, it did sell for $16 plus shipping. Working our way through the old car magazines. These are J.C. Whitney catalogs. I think that's super neat. My dad had a lot of J.C. My dad never liked to work on cars, but he definitely had J.C. Whitney's laying around. He probably had to work on cars, so he had the catalog sitting around to order parts if he needed to. I'm the same way. I mean, I don't have catalogs sitting around, but if I've got to get a part, I'll go order it and figure out how to put it on, whether I know how to or not. Those, I have almost nothing into these all the magazines. I think I paid $25 for a huge box. Those sold for $10.50 plus shipping, but a lot of shipping. Buyers all in at $23, almost $24. Paid 50 cents a piece for these cars. They're supposed to have, there's a thing here where you're supposed to put like an air needle and pump them up. I wonder if you couldn't do it with a basketball needle, but there is a proprietary pump for these that I don't have, so I didn't do whatever it is you would do to test them. There were a handful listed individually that way. None of them had ever sold. So I put mine up, and people were like $15 plus shipping for this one untested. So I'm like, well, there must be a market that people know about for them. So I listed all three of these, my $1.50 worth of investment, for $24, $25 plus shipping, and they sold. And I don't know, I mean, I know they're vintage toys. I know they're cars I can't do much with that a bunch of people have listed. So I just guessed at a price and made a lot of profit. Watching Lonnie and Candace over at Shed Flips, they had Husker Du, not the band, the board game. Husker Du, this version of Husker Du is fairly rare, and they found it. And then when I saw it, like this old of a board game with that weird name, I probably would have comped it anyway, but it was $1.99. But I knew when I saw it, because of watching their show, that I was probably going to be something good. I listed it. It is complete. And it's just, here's the board, here's the instructions, the box, there's an insert in the box, and there are 38 of these little coins. And that's the entire kit and caboodle. There's nothing else to it. It's not a hard thing to count and make sure that it's all there. Trying to make sure I don't mess the box up, putting it back together. 1970 from Regina. And there are two boxes of the 1970 from Regina, and then there's a newer, less rare, less valuable version. That sold in a week for $57 free shipping. I paid $2 for it. Iron Maiden. We've been selling off a lot of Iron Maiden stuff. I pick up Iron Maiden stuff whenever I see it reasonably priced. A buddy of mine does house cleanouts, and he got a whole bunch of CDs, a whole bunch of records, and a whole bunch of tapes. And I paid him $200 for a bunch of stuff. And these CDs, nine CDs, except for one of them is a double CD, but it's in the wrong case. So this is kind of loose, separate. But the buyer paid $55 free shipping for just this handful of, and I had these listed for like $85, and I kept getting lowball offers, and I kept getting watchers that didn't buy, and I kept sending out offers, and it's probably been 6 or 8 weeks, and I'm like, I marked them. I did a markdown sale, and then I think it was probably 30%, and they sold for $55 free shipping. We bought a huge stack of cassettes from my buddy's mom, and I mixed them in with the tapes that I got from my buddy who does the house clean out. And then I put together all of the Rush tapes. And those sold today too. But I made small lots where I could, and then a bunch of stuff that didn't make lots. And you guys have enjoyed talking about those in the comments, as far as I can tell. So we got Journey's Greatest Hits, REO, live. This is the corner sampler, UFO, which I remember seeing this album cover, but I don't know the band. Robert Plant, Manic Nirvana, Lou Gramm, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Melissa Etheridge, Head East, Supertramp, Tom Cochran, Steely Dan, T-Bone Burnett, and Little River Band. Little River Band always makes me think of the other guys. So those sold for $21 free shipping. And I'm assuming what's happening with those is people who own record stores buy that for 20 bucks, put $3 or $4 a piece on them, because they're getting 15 for I mean, I paid less than a quarter a piece for them. So the 15, I would be like $5 in at top end, and they're buying them for 15 for 21, so they're like $1.25. So if they put $3 on them in their shop, then they're doubling their money, and they don't even have to pay eBay fees. Went into Goodwill the other day and I picked up 2 sweatshirts. One was Nintendo, and it's fantastic. It's vintage. I thought about keeping it. It wouldn't fit me. It would fit Judah. He said he wanted to keep it. I think I'm going to sell it. And then this, which is a Spirit jersey. On the side, you can see that it says Spirit jersey. And then it says BCC on the front, established in 2012. And then it says Black Craft Cult. And it's a Spirit jersey, like you would see one that says McDonald, or says it's stink bugs on it. One that says Walt Disney World. Well, turns out Black Craft Cult is satanic clothing. If you know anything about like actual Satanism, it isn't about Satan. It's about self more than anything. So it says believe in yourself. Black Craft Cult Spirit jersey. Yeah, I thought about not selling it, but I was like, I already own it. It's not like I'm contributing to the delinquency of a person. I'm selling somebody a shirt, and it's obviously something they're already dealing with. So that, I paid $10 for it because it was a Spirit jersey and there wasn't one listed, and Spirit jerseys do fairly well. There was one similar listed, but it was extra small and gray. And I thought, given the subject matter, black is a much better color, and extra small is not a great size, and this one's large. So I was like, I bet that'll sell, and I listed it for $29.99 plus shipping. Got an offer in a day for $25, and buyers all in at $36. So that was fantastic. Paid $7 the other day for this very small Wilton Vice. I mean, as Vices go, this is not a heavy one. It's probably 12, 14 pounds. I do have a scale over there, and I mean, it's only like 6 inches. So you'd get like a 6-inch tooth and a 6-inch gap. And then it has the anvil working spot on it. Vices do relatively well. This one, paid $7 for it at Goodwill, and I listed it for $116 plus free $116 free shipping. Marked it down after a week, and then I got an offer for $98 free shipping. Buyers all in at $105. I paid $7 for it a week ago. These are not good. I rant and rave and tell you guys to pick up Small Appliances by Cuisinart and KitchenAid. These motors are not worth listing. I buy these small choppers, and I pay $3, $4 for them. The bucket sells for $13 plus shipping. The lid will sell for $12 or $13 free shipping. And so you're making money there. This sold for $11 free shipping, right? Yeah. I'm not going to make very much at all selling the motor. I'd be better off to just sell the bucket, throw the 2 other parts, and throw the motor away. Paid $1 for this. I still don't know what it is. Got it out of a random bucket at a garage sale about a year ago. It says Peoria, Illinois on it somewhere. Peoria, Illinois. Test meter. It's a test meter. It tests meters. ACV, DC amps, short lamp, and then so it has And this is called a chicken head. On vintage amplifiers, chicken head selectors are generally denote vintage. And so like this has that, and that makes it seem older. Anything with a huge gauge like this, I'm going to probably pick up if it's cheap. I'm going to comp for sure, even if it's $20. This sat around for over a year, and it sold for $29 free shipping. Just a neat thing. So I told you guys I went to a sale where they had a bunch of sweatshirts for a quarter. Well, one of the quarter pieces was this, and I wasn't sure this was good, but it was the first thing that sold. Boston Marathon, the year 2000, Anvil Red Bar extra large. So I paid a quarter for it, and it sold in a day. $8.99 plus shipping, so it's not great, but a quarter into $9, hard to complain. I wasn't confident picking it up, but I did pick it up. And then, of course, I'm going to list it. This was one of the Harley shirts I paid $5 for. She had a bunch of Harley shirts, and the shirts were $5, and the sweatshirt was $7. But this was a shirt, just a long sleeve t-shirt. But really, it's a thermal. It's got a clock on the front of it, which is a little bit weird. It says something about time, I think. Time tested Harley Davidson. And then it's not old. It's like 2009 or something. Anyway, and it's got a big eagle head on the back. I paid $5, sold for $25 free shipping. The dollar shirts that the last video was about, that I literally just edited like right before I started this. This is my favorite, probably my favorite shirt out of the group. It's got the Let It Be cover, and then it's got the alternate Let It Be cover with the purple faces, and then the alternate Let It Be cover on the back. Such a cool shirt. Dated 1990 something, 1994, I think. Apple 1994 Winterland. Such a cool piece on the Hanes tag. Beautiful shirt. I listed it for $100, and I got lots of messages and lots of, you send discount to people who would undoubtedly be sending it through a freight forwarder. And I said, sorry, it's gonna sell at full price. It's been listed for an hour. I'm not taking a discount. And it did. It sold faster than I thought it would even. I was going to hold out for a week, but I didn't even need to. It sold in a day. 2XL tall Henley, a t-shirt with 3 buttons is a Henley. This is a pocket Henley, so that makes it weird. Long sleeve, just a chore shirt, a Carhartt chore shirt in faded maroon. Been around a long time. I don't know where it came from. Sold for $10.45 plus shipping. Paid $2 for this dragon. Yeah, his wing is, I'm like, did he get messed up in storage? His wing is like that in the, paid $2 for this dragon. It is Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane makes beautiful toys, but they tended for a long time to not be worth much. I suspect the market is coming back on these some, and that's why I picked this one up. It only sold for $17 free shipping, but it's so cool. He's got a broken horn, and I noticed it when I was looking at it just now, and so I was checking the listing, and it's that way in the listing, so hopefully they noticed that it was that way in the listing. What a cool piece. I mean, if you're into dragons, that's a really neat thing. And like, dragons are weird anyway, so if that, you know, he got that in a battle somewhere. I wonder if his tail would come off. His tail is articulated. Paid $30 for a huge bucket, for this bucket, and I did this the last time. The bucket's still sitting here. This bucket full of older, like 90s action figures, sold the bulk off for $99. And then these two were the clincher. I found one of them on top and I was like, okay, that's an interesting bucket. I'm going to go look at it. And then when I found this guy farther in, I'm like, yep, we're buying that for 30 bucks. And these two sold for 26, free shipping. These are Biker Mice from Mars, which is one of the million 90s cartoons that Ron Paulson was a voice on.
Hi, Rob Paulson here, better known to you as Yakko Warner. Dr. Otto von Scratch and Sniff. Pinky, from Pinky and the Bride. Narf, from Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. Carl Weezer. A couple of Ninja Turtles. Raphael from the original show. And then Donatello from a later iteration. 50% of the Ninja Turtles in one old guy from Michigan.
I don't remember who he voiced on this show, but he was part of Biker Mice from Mars. They have a really cool video game. It was a neat cartoon. I remember watching this, and Bucky O'Hare were some kind of obscure cartoons that I watched when I was a kid. Let me know in the comments. Did you watch Mice from Mars? It was sold for 26 bucks. So I almost made my money back on those, and I'm already into the profit because the bulk sold off for 100 bucks. We already talked about Rush cassettes that sold. Fly By Night, Caress of Steel, and 2112. $22.59 plus shipping. That's not what I listed them for sure. That would have been on an offer or something. Paid $1 for this at a garage sale. All the clothes were, it was like fill a bag for $5 or pay $1 a piece. I only found 2 pieces worth buying. So size small on the Warner Brothers tag, embroidered pocket tee. This was a thing with Warner Brothers, so you can find like 2 weeks ago I had bugs in the pocket and Tasmanian Devil with a cauldron cooking bugs in the pocket. Embroidered pocket tees. They're the kind of thing you're like, oh man, that is definitely vintage. It's definitely a cool IP, but they just aren't worth much. This one is 1996. Double stitch, but they just aren't worth very much, unfortunately, cool as they are. So I wouldn't have picked this up if it had been more than $1. It sold for $9.19 plus shipping. Went to a hardware store, Ace Hardware, when we first moved into this house, so it would have been 2 years ago. Before we ever moved in, we went to that Ace for something that's just around the corner up here, and they had a rack of socks that were cool socks and a bunch of different IP stuff, Chucky, a couple of different varieties of SpongeBob, Oscar Mayer, hot dogs, a couple of different sodas, Pepsi things, Mountain Dew, Pepsi. Anyway, there was $1 a piece. I ended up spending $45 on pairs of socks. And I'm trickling the rest of them out. A handful of them sold really fast. I still have, there was Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Animal House, and Bride of Chucky, and those are the ones that I still have left. And a couple of SpongeBob things, $9.99 free shipping. I made my money back, but it wasn't necessarily worthwhile of it. Venture, this just sold a couple minutes ago. Anvil Red Bar, Ringer Tea. This came from Whatnot. I have Ringer Tea. You couldn't see it. Hungry Man Food. It's good to be full. Just a promo shirt for some TV dinner. Sold for $8 plus shipping. I'm looking around. That doesn't feel like everything, but I think that it is. Yeah, we went over it all. That's the whole thing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting, subscribing. Thanks for following and clicking the bell. We'll see you on the next one.